Welcome in, everybody, to the Kiriko Cup. We are about to crack on with our very next upper bracket game. I am Snowball Ninja. Joined with me is the gorgeous Sun Phoenix, and I'm super stoked for this next match. Frontline Fighters versus California Girls. Quite frankly, I'm just ready to get into it. What do you think, Phoenix?
I'm always ready to cast some Overwatch. Overwatch 1, Overwatch 2, 3, 4, 5. Who knows where we'll end with this beautiful game, but I'm always excited to see more. Overwatch 2 obviously fairly new for all of us here as Overwatch players. 5v5 instead of 6v6. Very exciting changes, and of course the most relevant one to this cup is the addition of Kiriko. So if you're just joining us, there's going to be a lot of new stuff that you're going to be seeing over the course of this game and throughout the weekend. Tomorrow, more games, but I'm excited I'm most excited to see these more competitive games and see what the teams are bringing to the table.
Indeed, there's a lot of new stuff on the table, but to me that just says for the newcomers, there's more to enjoy, and for the veterans of the series, that just means we shake things up a little bit. So I'm excited either way. I personally, as a healer main, am a fan of having a new healer. I love Kiriko, love the character, and I maybe just wish she would heal a little faster. But other than that, it's fine. Now, speaking of the matchup, we have Frontline Fighters versus California Girls. Both of them are coming off a 3-0 win in their upper bracket. What more can you tell us on that, my good sir?
Well, of course, thanks to the wonderful specter that is load shedding, we didn't get a chance to actually watch those games. So unless you were actually literally playing them, we wouldn't be able to see them. But we do know quite a bit about these two teams. We saw the Frontline Fighters play in the group stage. We saw 2 of their matches. I think both of them successful, at least one of them was. But I think the California Girls are coming into this one as the favorites, given what we've seen. We only saw them once, but the results that they've been putting up have been super stellar. I think they dropped 1 map. I stand on correction there, but I think they only dropped 1 map in the group stage, which is quite a feat in a cup that is, supposedly balanced. Okay, apparently 3, which is still pretty good when you're playing 9 matches or 7 matches, whatever.
It's better than I would do.
Well, yeah, I actually did play 1 match and we didn't win it. So, but it's I'm excited to see them play because they're one of the teams in the Kiriko Cup that, if you don't know, the Kiriko Cup, you sign up as a single or a duo and you get placed in teams based on your SR. Of course, SR not a perfect measure of an individual skill, so when you multiply that by 5, you can get unbalanced whether you like it or not. But this is a team that is on paper extremely balanced. The actual delta between the highest and the lowest MMR is quite minimal, and those teams often tend to do the best because in Overwatch 2, as in Overwatch 1, teamwork is paramount, and when you're all on the same page, all at the same level, you're all working in the same way alongside each other, and that tends to work quite well in these kind of tournaments. So California Girls are coming in super strong, so it might end up being a question of, can the Frontline Fighters even take the fight to them, and that's the exciting thing we're gonna have to wait and see.
Absolutely, and look, I'm looking at the chat. I know there's plenty of support for both, which means we have a clash of titans here. They've both been doing very well, and despite where the favorites might lie, I think we all enjoy an underdog story. So I'm ready for Frontline Fighters to do exactly what you said. Bring the fight to California Girls. Maybe rock the boat a little bit. I'm ready. I'm ready for an unexpected turnout. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Let's see, indeed. And so just to remind you guys of who the players on these teams are. For the Frontline Fighters, we've got Swoom, Joshi, Twisty, Zlade, and Ontiablo. Many of those names you will have heard before. Swoom, Ontiablo, of course, standouts as part of the competitive scene over the years. Zoom, a GM player recently, I believe, in Overwatch 2, which is quite the feat, on tank. And he will be playing DPS here, though. So it'll be Twisty and Joshi, Twisty on tank, Joshi on DPS. 2 new players who we've got very little experience, but Joshi will likely be on Soldier most of the time from what we saw in the group stage. Slade, of course, one of our resident Reddit Lucios. I expect to see nothing different from him. And then on the other side, we've got California Girls, Apricornicus, BTS fan on DPS. BTS fan, aka Babs, stand out on the Genji Snowball, so I'll be expecting him to be playing a lot of that and doing very well on it. Alvin Slayer, of course, a former off-tank part of OG, etc. He'll be on the tank, and then Restio-san and Damien, a DPS player known for his McCree, I want to say more, but on the support and likely to be playing the Kiriko most. And of course, worth remembering, Snowball, that Kiriko is mandated, so both teams will have a Kiriko whether they like it or not.
I mean, I'm not going to complain. Kiriko has become a favorite in my picks as well. Speaking of favorites, look, I'm newer to the scene, I'm newer to the teams and knowing them, but anybody that's playing Lucio and anybody that's playing Genji is already in my good books. Those are two of my favorites, hands down. Look, as a ninja myself, I'm gonna get behind the cyborg ninja.
That is true. That is so true. I had not considered. Well, then in theory, you should be a big fan of Mei as well, right? The other half of your name.
Let's just say, if we're looking for a one true pairing, I know who I'm putting together. All right.
Okay. I see. We're learning so much about you. Snowball here, your first time on camera. We're about ready to jump in here, I think. First map will be Oasis, a map that we should all be very familiar with here. And in fact, all of our maps are predetermined, as many things in life are. Oasis, Eichenwalde, Colosseo, Route 66, and Ilios. Oasis, of course, we bookend these series with our control maps. Oasis, a well-known map, as with every control map, kind of very mixed in what you might expect to see on each individual round. But what's been interesting to me, Snowball, is the role that Pharah has been playing in this series so far this weekend, or last weekend at least. She can kind of be a can opener for these compositions, kind of really be a difference maker where two teams are evenly matched, but the team that has the better Pharah, or sometimes the worse solution for Pharah, can be benefited or detrimented respectively. So that's an interesting dynamic on control maps, because often you have one or two that are very Pharah favored and one or two that are not, and depending on the order of the maps as they come out can actually make a huge difference in situations like those. So it'll be an exciting dynamic to see unfold.
100%, and obviously when you are picking your heroes for the team, you're factoring both what you're comfortable with, what's benefiting your team, and what is countering the other team. So with something like this, and knowing that Pharah is in a powerful position, I think you are correct. This is going to have to be something they're going to have to consider every round. So maybe those heroes that the DPS heroes that are more favored might have to be switched out for DPS heroes that can more easily deal with Pharah. I mean, Widowmaker comes to mind, Ashe comes to mind, McCree comes to mind. Is that going to be something that I have to adapt to on the fly? Have they already thought about it? I'm not sure. But I think with teams that are, and players, dare I say, that are as confident as the ones that are above our heads, I'm sure it's been on their minds already. I'm hearing some music. Absolutely. I think we're loading in as we speak.
I think so. And yeah, no, absolutely. And of course, it's worth noting as well that this would be the, 10th or so game they would have played in this tournament. So by now, they've really nailed down what works for their roster. And the question is, what can your opponents do? Or firstly, does what you do work better than what your opponent does? A, and B, if not, how do the adaptations play out? You mentioned it just a moment ago, but that is a real key of tournaments like these, especially where an individual's hero pool might be quite limited. They might not be so practiced on, for example, we were talking about the Pharah, so Pharah counter, something like that. We might see some unusual compositions just because of particular players. Like, I'm a huge Junkrat main, and all I'm going to play is Junkrat, and that's you're going to get the best out of me. But with these two teams this far into the tournament, this high up on the level, these two teams are going to be able to play a lot of different things. So starting off here, we can immediately see Apricornicus on the Symmetra. Wouldn't surprise me to see if he just switches off of that. But otherwise, very, very closely matched here. Joshi on that Soldier, like I said. But the Genji will be a key part of this. But we do have a different in tanks. D.Va versus Zarya. Zarya on paper favored, but D.Va's got the better mobility. Indeed,
and obviously now we have our control maps, and this particular map, I like that there's multiple angles of exposure that you can deal with. So your DPS are going to have a little bit more mobility in how they move around. The Soldier already at the top here, being able to lay down a lot of fire and still remain relatively safe. But those flanking routes is what I'm going to be concerned about. So Pharah, do you want to be flying out in the middle of the map? I'm not sure, but it seems like the Soldier's been found out immediately. The D.Va already down in her mech, so she's going to have to retreat pretty quickly. The tank's moving in to try and hold out some control, but it seems like California Gold's claiming an early capture of this control point as the Genji goes down, as well as the baby D.Va. That's some good control right out of the gate.
Yeah, it's going to be awkward to play D.Va here. Twisty might consider matching the Zarya or, okay, onto the Monkey. I like that decision. Use the mobility to your advantage. That's going to help you pressure the Genji back just a little bit, but there's not really a great dive target yet. Kiriko's okay, but they're running the Moira on the California Girls and the Junkrat, so Might be difficult for Twisty to find targets here, so Zoom might have to put in some good work backing him up on the dive.
Indeed, and so now that we have everybody back on point, here comes the
Oh,
monkey,
yeah,
very
look at that.
aggressive, but oh my goodness, focused and put down. The soldier back in what appears to be his favorite position, dare I say, taking up a position of Overwatch. The Genji now pushing into that Moira. Can he take it up? No, in fact, Junkrat turns around and says, get away from my healer. Both, again, the retaliation, the Moira taking out the Lucio, and Josh finally going down as well. Not great. California Goals really showing the dominance on point. That's over 50% on the control point already. As they respawn and come back, I wonder if there's going to have to be a change of tactics here for Frontline Fighters.
It's possible, but it's worth remembering they started on the back foot here. Zoom, can see, has switched now onto the Pharah. I said this might be a key. This is one of the maps where she can excel, just because she's got a lot of cover, but the grab does go down to start things off.
And here comes the Dragon Blade. Let's see if they can capitalize on it. A lot of slashes going out, but not a lot of death. And he has a Junkrat ult. Splat goes Kiriko. Very unfortunate. Eventually, Genji being put down and the Mercy being traded out as well by the Junkrat. Unfortunately, Twisty, you're going to go check out if gravity works. I'm really sorry, but out comes the soldier ult. Can he make it work? That's a lot of damage coming from his flank. That's 2 ults that have not been very effective. The Pharah tried to make something work, but she's on very low health. And 11 Slayer slaying her eventually. That's very unfortunate. We're on 99%. The overtime, the very last minute ditch effort. The monkey jumps in. What can you make happen here? He's healthy. There's plenty of people for Frontline Fighters. And the Moira does eventually go down. That's 1 healer down on either team. What can they make happen here?
Ooh, I have to wait and see. They do pop the Primal Rage here. So he looks to get aggressive, but Apricornicus is not being dealt with, and he's putting out so much damage. He's trying to counter the Pharah, but Zoom's had enough. He pops the Rocket Barrage to get rid of him, but will pay with his own life. Twisty goes down. It's likely here that Slade, we know how good he is, but he's not quite on the level of a 1v5, and that will be it, Snowball Ninja. It just looked like California Goals came in with the better plan. They had the better execution, and just, you know, every metric you could measure, it seemed like they were just better in that round. So we'll put it down for now for the Frontline Fighters, just to warming up. They started on the wrong comp, and that always puts you on the back foot in control. We know the team that caps first tends to have a pretty significant advantage when it comes to ult economy and all of that jazz, even in spite of the fact that in Overwatch 2, you keep 30% of your ultimate charge. Switching still costs you a lot. And we could see they were actually starting to get some picks, win some fights. So hopefully the next time around, have a better sense of how they want to start things off.
Indeed, and I mean, I think it has to be said for whether it's actual gameplay momentum or even just mental, moral momentum. That cap of the first point and getting in first and having that headway is massive for any team. And so, yes, it's a pity that they started off with less of an ideal setup, but there's something to be said for feeling out your competition. One round lost is not the end of the game, and fighters like Frontline Fighters, they know this. So if you can keep your head in the game, if you can keep your morale up, I'm pretty sure they're doing, rather, this is not over. This is not far from over, and if anything, you know how they say you learn more from a loss than a win? Frontline Fighters, I'm sure, will be taking that in their stride as we get ready for the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you know, we saw Zoom saying in the chat there how he's Pharah is terrible. So they're trying to figure out some stuff here clearly, and I think there's going to be room. There's definitely room for improvement on the side of Frontline Fighters, but also stuff that's fairly easily identifiable and fairly easy to correct. You know, it's not like they're watching this game going, "Oh my goodness, what? How do we solve these problems?" You know, as you said, first round, get the jitters out. I mean, this is their 3rd game of the day or 2nd game, whatever, but still. Every game is a new game. Figure out how to solve the problems that California Girls are going with. I think Alvin Slayer here on the ball is going to present a totally different dynamic than he did in the previous round on the Zarya. But Twisty will be starting on the Monkey, and the Monkey's really good on this map. You can take control of the high ground here and really start to pressure them out from that position.
Have to agree with you. In the tight corners that this particular control point offers, I'm honestly favoring the ball here. Let's go hammer. My goodness gracious. Both healers immediately sent to an early grave. California Girls, just the aggression from them. The Genji also claiming Josh on the soldier. That's the aggression that we need to be seeing. And the tank is down too. Here they go. California Girls setting up and knocking down, quite frankly, on this control point. That's the first cap again I don't think they can afford Frontline Fighters to change up their comp at this point. Here we go again. Is history what's the word I'm looking for? Is history destined to repeat itself?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think it might be Snowball. Just looking at the way Babs is playing on the Genji, he's playing so aggro. He's finding the targets, picking them off, and Apricornicus on the Tracer, no slouch either. So the backline is on so much pressure, and the Monkey wants to go forward. Twisty's looking to get aggressive here, but the team isn't quite able to follow up because of the pressure that's coming into the backline from the 2 DPS of the California Girls. So it's going to be tough for the Frontline Fighters to find a way in, but let's see if they can do it.
Well, jumping in goes Twisty on the tank, but where's his support? He's going to need some healing. He's on the point, dips his toes in the water for a little bit, but I don't think he had the support that he was expecting. Out comes the Dragon Blade. Can we make this one work a little bit more? Yes, he can, taking down his clone.
Nice.
Down he goes, and down goes the Tracer to Swoom. You have redeemed yourself, my good sir. That is fantastic. Well played. The ball just doing little laps right now, trying to stall as it seems like Frontline Fighters managing to get a foothold. Indeed they do. The capture trades hands, and it's their turn to charge up that point.
Yeah, great play from Zoom there. Charging that ultimate really fast. You can see compared to his opposite number, in spite of the fact that they won the first team fight, Zoom got the advantage with his ultimate and used it perfectly to deal with the 2 DPS. Ooh, nice headshot from Diablo, a man who knows a thing or two about getting headshots. And they're going to start with the Kiriko rush here.
Let's see if this can benefit them in any way, shape, or form. Out goes the dropping of the beat. That's a lot of extra health. Here comes the area denial. Is this going to be the answer? Is this going to be able to take them away? In fact, yes, down goes the tank, and down goes one of the DPSs along with the healer. That's a massive play from both of them. And the foothold immediately lost. He's chasing him into traffic. What are you doing? Get back, you little ninja.
Oh.
Don't play in traffic. Did your mom not teach you better? The one Kiriko taking out the other Kiriko, and the control has changed hands yet again. Full control for California Girls on the point, and it's a full reset. Let's see what Frontline Fighters can do to answer.
Oh, immediately going to start things off here. The power driver goes in, but BTS fan here with the Dragon Blade looking to get some picks. He does get Joshi. Can he find anything else? Nothing just yet. Nice support from the team, but they're going to back out immediately, and this is really nice discipline. No, false alarm. Are they going back in here? They might be with a Primal Rage. Zoom finds the pick, and that might be the opening they need to push forward and crack open this backline. Can they get the Kiriko? Yes, they do.
There's a lot of very low health heroes there, and Genji desperately trying to take them out. That is 2 down. Both of the healers, can they press their advantage here on this overtime? Frontline Fighters, you're in a good position. Please, let's try and capitalize on it. You have indeed. You've only got 60% standing between you and a control point.
Oh, but look at the ult economy here. Snowball Ninja, things are looking pretty good for the Frontline Fighters. That was a cheap fight for them, but they've got a couple of team fights they need to win if they're going to bring this one back. But it's going to be about ult economy. If they can get through this with only using 1, maybe 2 ultimates, they'll be pretty happy. And they're going to start with the Tactical Visor.
Here comes the Tactical Visor indeed. Hopefully you can put this to good use. One of the healers again down, and Swoom putting in some work. I don't think the Tactical Visor managing to hit much, but maybe just that psychological fear of not wanting to stand in front of Soldier. I think that is what's going to be great. Yes, indeed. Let's look back at the ult economy as we take a very quick break, and I can take a breath. But Zoom and Twisty are indeed both sitting on ultimates. So, Dragon Blade has put some work in already.
Yeah.
We've got a very, very angry monkey that's ready to come out, but I also see that the ball on California Girls has an area denial. So, what do you make of that ult economy, and how do you think it should be played out with this final push?
I think you with your support ultis coming up soon, you want to go fairly aggressive here with your ultimates. So 70% on the clock. If you can draw out a team fight, that would be ideal. But that's not necessarily something you want to be aiming to do, because it can be a little bit risky. But I think the question is, how quickly does Apricornicus get that pulse bomb up, and can you find value with it? And of course, how much value does Alvin get out of the minefield? Because that can be a real game changer. As you said, aerial denial, it makes using the Dragon Blade super, super awkward if he gets it on the right spot, if he protects his backline with it. But what we'll likely see is Alvin Slayer going aggressive, popping the minefield maybe on the high ground, forcing Josh Z off and out of position, and then it becomes a question of getting picks and target priority and focus fire. And that could really go either way. So everything's in the balance here, but I would say ult economy, of course, at the moment favoring the Frontline Fighters.
And the economy might be favoring them, but let's remember the other part of having an ult. The psychological part of it. You don't know when the other team is going to commit. Speaking of a committal, Josh committing to ending Genji's life. Out goes the ult. Is that too early from California Girls? I don't know. But hey, here comes the Dragon Blade. The ninja's ready to make his move. The healer taking down Tracer, very interesting. And one Dragon Blade target has been claimed. That might be what they need. But Elven Slayer slaying yet again. Josh goes down. The monkey very angry with the healer Lucio. They go down as well. It's a 99% overtime. What can they make happen? That's a very low health ball. But yes, the healer's down. No, down goes the tank as well. Moving in, here's the bomb, and out comes the Kiriko ult. The frontline fighters are on the front line. They're making the fights work for them. And they've pushed California Girls off completely. There's only one person left alive. It's the Lucio. Can the tank make it back in time? Lucio is dancing around the point. I love it as a Lucio main. Are you going to be able to do what you need to do? He's dead. He's gone. He's not long for this world. Frontline fighters sticking to the front line, fighting on the front line, and bringing home a victory. Well done. 1-1 with round 2 complete.
I was so concerned, Snowball, that we were just going to watch a clean sweep here, not a map drop, minimal team fight losses. But no, Frontline Fighters showed up. They showed us that they can find a solution to the problem. And we saw in that last fight, obviously key was Babs dropping so early. That Genji going down, we saw how much value you can get on that Genji, both courtesy of Babs and Zwoom in respective team fights. And that is key. That's what we saw in a couple of previous series as well. If you can deal with that Genji early on in a team fight, you've got a lot of solutions. But key to that also was Zlade booping the pile drive off the high ground, and that really unsettled the mine drop as well. So really, really nice individual plays from the frontline fighters. But now they're going to have to deal with the Babs Echo, and of course the Reaper from Apricornicus. So big switch ups here for both teams with Zwoom now on the Junkrat.
Well, that Junkrat pick should make you happy at least, and I'm keen to see what they plan to do differently now, because yes, this is another different point, and speaking of different, it seems that Moira is already dead thanks to Junkrat, so your Junkrat picks are great, and again, Twisty picking up yet another one. This is good. Can they finally, Frontline Fighters, take their first points and get that moral boost? Yes, indeed they can. That's a lot of people dead. It's going to be a reset from California Girls. But hey, these are two Titans. Let's not count them out just yet. Out go the Junkrat, shots towards spawn, just to say, hey, we've set up a presence. Don't think you're going to be taking it too easy.
Yeah, and the Junkrat kind of awkward to play Zarya into. You kind of want to move through a zone. Of course, it gives you 1,000 charge, but if you take 100,000 damage after that, it kind of doesn't matter what your charge is. But looks like they're going to move forward here. The frontline fighters in a good position to hold the defense here on the high ground. Hacked, booped off. Great work from the Sombra, the Apricornicus, and cleanup crew coming through now for the frontline fighters.
My goodness, and yes, Frontline Fighters sweeping in and sweeping up. Everybody from California Girls being swept under the rug there. That's another down 5-player kill streak from Zwoom. We love to see it. Yet another reset. So they can set up, they can take their time. Let's have a quick look at the ult economy here. It's great to see Frontline Fighters have already pushed up their ult economy. I'm ready for this next team fight, because I think it's going to come down to who gets the ults first, but then also who uses them first. Here's a Sombra pick, and pushing in from Apricornicus. Oh my goodness, beautiful, beautiful ult from the Pharah. Quickly shut down by the Kiriko. Yes, where that's 2 of the DPSs down. They're going to have to capitalize on this, and their tank is still alive, and that's the healer down for Frontline Fighters as well. This is what California Girls needed to do in response. The Kiriko trying desperately to make sure a nuke doesn't go off. The nuke does go off, and Kiriko catches it to the face. Area denied, indeed. Here we come in again, and Genji just not making it out of there. Frontline Fighters just not backing up. California Girls, they push, but Frontline Fighters push back. And they're chasing a hamster. That's just rude.
Oh my
goodness gracious.
This is a DPS difference in this game so far. Not skill level necessarily, but we see the DPS getting picked off here. 97 from getting rid of Babs here, coming in on the Genji. Can they get the touch? Elven Slayer in position to come around the corner here and look to just keep the overtime ticking over, and he will do that, but he's going to get trapped up. He's going to take it down. This Junkrat Snowball, too hot to handle.
Too hard to handle, and I'm sure that's making you very happy. Out goes the EMP. Is it going to be enough? Just ticking over the overtime, but oh my word! Frontline Fighters cleaning up. That's 3 down from California Girls. Make it 4. It's only the ball that's left alive, and he cannot roll on fast enough. as Frontline Fighters do indeed roll California Girls off that point. That is very well played. It's 2-1, and Frontline Fighters take their victory.
I'm impressed. I made the call. I thought the California teams came in here with the better results, and they look like the stronger team as we watch Swoom get some picks here. He gets a nice pick on Damien. Look at the weight here. Patience, waiting out the deflect, and gets a nice combo onto Apricornicus as well. So, I mean, like I said, I was expecting California Girls to come up here as a stronger team. There's still a long series ahead of us, a best of 5, but so far, the Frontline Fighters look like if they can get a position set up, they can defend that position extremely well. So as we move to other maps that may become more relevant than it is on Control, and our next map will be Eichenwalde, of course, a map where there are a lot of difficult points to push through. Of course, first point, that first choke can be very difficult, a strong point for Farah, and then that second point, the high ground, can be so hard to assail as the attacking team. So I think we're still looking at on paper, I would have thought with the strong Genji play that Babs has been showing, would have been difficult for the Frontline Fighters to really push through, but they did it, and it might be even better for them here on Eichenwalde.
Indeed, and look, hey, we saw, as we said, it was a California Girls really quick capture for that first round, but as I mentioned it before, the Frontline Fighters were able to just feel out their opponents, and it's like there's another military saying, no plan ever survives first contact with the enemy. So maybe their initial plan didn't work, but they got back into base, they re-strategized, and they came back out strong to take 2 rounds in a row and the first map. So as we head over to Eichenwalde, I'm interested to see what's changing and what's staying the same. I'm just very happy to see Frontline Fighters coming to the plate. I'm hesitant to say that maybe California Girls were more of the favorite, maybe a bit more backing, and their aggression, with their aggression and their confidence, it's easy to see why. But hey, I'm here for good Overwatch. I'm here for a lot of Overwatch. So I'm very happy to see Frontline Fighters stepping up to the plate.
Absolutely. I should maybe make it clear here. We're talking a difference of inches here, not a difference of miles. I think these two teams are relatively evenly matched. But if if I had to put money on it coming into this, I would have said California Girls. But the fact that Frontline Fighters is putting up a fight here, this is not a case, you've said it multiple times, two titans playing each other. This is not a case of a minnow facing, Goliath. This is two strong teams coming at each other, and Frontline Fighters coming out the stronger after that first map. We are seeing a PP here. I think Babs with his usual internet maladies. So fingers crossed that he can get that sorted out ASAP. We can get back into this. But I think the key for me, Snowball, there, was Twisty going onto that monkey and finding value on it. Once he switched off that diva and got into the rhythm of monkey, and the team got into the rhythm of playing that, sort of halfway through the second map, we could see the difference that they were able to make on that. We saw that Babs is struggling to find value on their Genji at that point, and actually started switching up his heroes, which if you can force a strong player on a particular hero to play something else, you're doing something right.
Absolutely has to be said. And I think as applies to any good team, adaptability. And that comes in the form of, who you pick, the strats you use, and even in the middle of the match, changing up what you're doing and how you're pushing to be able to take that victory. And so, yes, maybe in the beginning there were questionable picks, or not even questionable, just something that was used to test the waters. And that adaptability that Frontline Fighters has shown has brought them that first map win. And so what's interesting as well, if I can just pull this up as I look to my notes to the left, there were two, dare I say, suboptimal ults, one from the Genji and one from the Soldier, as you'll remember in the first round of map 1. Now, that was interesting to see, and I think, do you think it's just the teams now feeling each other out and seeing, hey, how aggressive can we be? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And is, are California Girls going to be too aggressive with their confidence? And maybe that's something Frontline Fighters can capitalize on, but what do you make of that?
I think you don't want to read too much into individual misplays and mistakes or inefficiencies, shall we call them, in that situation. I think sometimes you pop a Genji blade and you slice the wall 3 or 4 times, or you hitting a shield or the target you started off, because with blade specifically, that is pardon the pun, that's a snowball ultimate, right? You pop that, if you get 1 kill, you can quickly convert that into more and more kills with the dash reset mechanic. So if you don't get that first pick, say you go on a Kiriko and she drops the Suzu, which looked like it was what was happened with Babs on that first map. All of a sudden, you're spending like 10 minutes trying to kill this flipping Kiriko, and your ulti looks completely useless. And sometimes that just happens, and that's okay. And hilariously enough, they won the team fights where we saw the two that you mentioned, terrible ultimates. So Tactical Visor especially has a significant amount of zoning value. So you pop that and you control the entire eyesight. Sorry, not eyesight. The entire sort of POV of the soldier.
Sightline, I think.
Sightline. There we go. Thank you. Of the soldier. And so, yeah, that's there's value in that, and they ended up winning those team fights anyway. Looking at the compositions here, though, we've got Twisty now switching it up, going on to the Reinhardt here. Lore bonus. You got to mention it.
I was about to say, very, very canonical.
But I think I like the way that works. We know Josh C. Snowball, if you haven't picked up on it yet, Josh C. Soldier guy, only plays Soldier. So get used to that. And Reinhardt, obviously a hero that makes a lot of sense playing with Soldier. The static playstyle makes sense. The Rein can make space for the Soldier or just straight up protect him. But Zoom on the Junkrat, man. I'm loving it so far, as you said. Not because I have a particular love for Junkrat. He's just a hero we don't get to see that often. But BTS fan Babs on the Ferret, that's going to be key. But Damien, how did he manage that?
Wow. Well, hey, Zoom, we're loving the Junkrat, brother. Keep bringing it in. And already there's an absolute chaos in the middle there. We're seeing, okay, cool. We managed to get the Kiriko back up and into the fight. I'm unsure whether they... my goodness, like I'm not sure if they knew this was going to be another flank. This Junkrat posing so much problems, pestering this poor Kiriko. And again, they're pushing towards the point, and I'm interested to see if they're going to be able to respond. Because there they go. Yes, they picked up two of them, but Josh goes down. And Swoom on this Junkrat proving to be an absolute pest. You Australian pyromaniac, you. Oh, my goodness. Man. So let's take advantage of this, push forward, and now they are on the point. And Lucio just pushing in to be an absolute nuisance with the ball. That, again, we saw that at the end of map 1. As soon as they had control of that point, they pushed in to make sure they were engaging them as much off the point as possible, as Elven Slayer does eventually go down.
Yeah, I mean, they are on the defense here, so they do want to kind of clear the point, clear the position behind them. But it's clear that California Girls are not respecting the Junkrat player. Zoom, he's playing so aggro. Just the one tank looking at him, or one DPS putting pressure, but nobody's looking at him, right? Damien's not even turning to try and deal with him until after he's almost dead. So they just need to keep an eye out for this Junkrat now. And you can see they forced him back, and that's allowing them a little bit more space to move on in and put the pressure on here. And it looks like Genji going to try and come in here. Deal with Slade, a good shot, but he's dropping low.
And indeed, this is going to be interesting. I can see the Bulls nearly got their ultimate back up, and that's going to be a great bit of area denial. If they can stop them from claiming this, you're ready to do it. Can you do it? Up goes the... Yep, that's a good pick on the Junkrat. Finally getting taken out. The Kiriko ult comes down, but Elden Slayer there was about to say, holding on to that ult to the perfect moment. The area is denied. Can these DPS now make good use of this ultimate? And this absolute chaos. I don't know, Genji, how you're still alive, but wow, very well played. They managed to push Frontline fighters back just a little bit. Out comes the Junkrat ultimate. Get ready for that Riptire. Are you going to be able to find what you need? Josh does go down. Kiriko goes down as well. But Swoom! Nobody is respecting this man. The Junkrat claiming 2 and diving immediately back into the point. The Lucio does go down, and the backline's there. He's front-facing a tank. He just doesn't care. And finally, Swoom gets put into his grave. But hey, he's bought enough time, and the team has made their way back to the point.
Yeah, it's 3 on the point now. 3v5, it's tough, but Bab's going to try and put this one to bed here. Comes in with the Dragon Blade, he picks up 1, he gets a second as well. 4k in quick succession here for the California Girls, and that's going to be a nice cleanup of the point. A lot of time burnt off the clock there, so Frontline fighters can be quite happy with that, and now they can get set up on this high ground. I'd like to see California Girls get aggressive and take this position away, and it looks like that's what Elven Slayer, if you look carefully through the wall there that Babs is desperately trying to scale, you can see that Elven Slayer in the background here, and that is going to be nice of them to just take this position away from the Frontline fighters, with the Rhine especially. If they could control that with the Rhine, the Soldier, and the Genji, they'll be happy, but the trade is there on the DPS.
And again, I'm looking at this as well. The ultimate economy for California Girls, they've got 3 ready to go, and he's been trapped. Again, this is such great plays from the Junkrat, and California Girls just don't seem to have an answer for this. I'm very impressed with how they're doing this, and yes, they managed to pick it up. Here comes the tactical visor. Oh my goodness, Lucio, you better run, brother. And the pushback from this tac visor. Yes, down goes Damien, but Zlade very quickly traded back out. Reinhardt just standing on top of that objective. And Lucio very caught out. My goodness gracious, the pushing here is ridiculous. But California Girls, yes, you've still got all of your ult economy. The beautiful deflex. Somehow Genji is still alive. I have no idea how that worked. Josh eventually the one taken down. I'm very impressed with this play. And Junkrat pushing back the ball yet again. California Girls, use these ults. They're ready. They're ready for you to use. I know you're making progress. Down goes BTS fan. That's not great. And here we see... Oh my goodness! What is happening? The frontline fighters sticking on the front lines, putting down the California Girls players. Guys, you're gonna have to use these ultimates. The Lucio's down again. I want to say you can't let this time tick down too much. You still got 2 minutes to work with. But what are you waiting for? Let those ultimates fly.
I actually think the opposite here, Snowball. I think they need to wait just a tiny bit more and group up properly. We saw Josh getting so aggressive there on the soldier, backed up by Auntie on the Kiriko as they took pressure on. But it just, California Girls just needed to relax, back up into spawn and come out now with all those ultis you talk about. Here they come forward now. The Kitsune rush to start things off, but the picks are going the opposite way.
Oh my goodness, and already we've got 2 down on the side of California Girls, and Josh has taken out Twisty very quickly as well. That's some good movement, but here comes the Junkrat ult. What are we gonna do? Out goes the beats. My goodness, is he gonna be up? No, he doesn't. He gets, that's so unfortunate. But hey, Zwoom has been put down, and I'm just looking forward to see what that is going to do. And Elven Slayer does make sure Zwoom goes down, followed very quickly by Zlade, and that's a lot of control gained back. 60 seconds left. Out goes the Reinhardt ult. Lucio taking that to the face, but here comes a Dragon Blade from BTS fan. What are you going to be able to do? Josh goes down. So does the Kiriko. This is good use of the Dragon Blade. Indeed, a snowball ult. And there we go. Twisty eventually put down as well. Zwoom taking out the Tracer, but is it too little too late? An absolutely massive strike from there. Zwoom does get put in his place, but that is amazing play from that Dragon Blade. I'm very impressed. The boop. Can you save it? Oh my goodness, you do. You skating little sausage. BTS fan managing to still take him out as he was trying to scale back up as well. But California Girls are all over this point. You've got 15 seconds, and they are absolute inches away.
Oh, Twisty taking down. It's just on junk dropping on Zoom. Will get taken down, but the numbers and the HP clearly favoring the blue squad here. But Apricornicus fighting pick after pick. Ryan dropping low. Twisty gonna fall. On Diablo drops, and in overtime, they capped the second point. Frontline fighters fighting till their last breath, but California Girls too strong on that occasion. And these fights are so messy, Snowball Ninja. You seem to just slow down, relax, pick targets, and take them down, but that's a consequence of Overwatch 2, 5v5, only one tank. These fights are just in general more chaotic, but we've got a Riptide coming in here from Zoom.
Let's see what the Riptide can do. It's an interesting use of it now. Maybe just looking to try and delay the push. Find the poor Genji just hiding in the back line. He was on a 10 kill streak, but no more. And yes, indeed, I'm very proud of the fight that Frontline fighters put up, but California Girls just the right amount of aggression. We do have the Dragon Blade and the Sticky Bomb very close in terms of ultimate economy. The Kiriko ult is ready to go, and I'm interested to see now where the Soldier ult is going to be used. Okay, goodbye, Tracer. Thanks for checking that gravity still works. And again, the Genji put down by Zoom. Amazing plays from this Junkrat. All of them already, and here comes the attack visor, just pushing them back. 30 seconds is what they've got to work with. 30 seconds, the frontline fighters have to hold this front line. Can they do it, or are California Girls and their aggression that they're known for going to pull them together? Elven Slayer has been slayed. What are they going to be able to do here?
Oh no.
Out comes the Dragon Blade, and there we go. That's already 2 before the Dragon Blade even comes out. Zlade gets put down by the Katana of BTS fan. Tracer taking out Josh and Twisty. Oh my goodness, it's a team kill. I've got no words and I've got no breath. Please take over from me.
Oh man, that was really nice stuff from California Curls, but a little bit of a mispositioning there from the frontline fighters. They will come out now, and the key here is Twisty on the Reinhardt. He's got the ultimate. There's no shield. What can he find? He might hit everybody here. He's going forward now, looking for the target. Gonna go for the supports in the backline. He gets one. He kills one straight off the bat. He gets the coalescing Moira in the background. Now we'll move back to point to try and get this fix, but on the front line, BTS fan is dominating here. Babs getting kill after kill. He's gonna look for the soldier here. Won't find it. Great Suzu there from Damien to keep him alive, and now frontline fighters are coming back in. One pick is all you need sometimes to push it back, and they're going to get 3, and that is that. The defense is true from the frontline fighters.
Frontline fighters living up to their name. Oh my goodness, holding that front line until the absolute last minute. That was insane. We had offense, we had defense. And I've never seen so many close calls from both teams at the same time. Oh my word.
One thing to take away there, I think that I was picking up from the frontline fighters, I think Josh is a little bit on a different wavelength from the rest of the frontline fighters. There were a couple of times where he was running in and his team was like chilling, you know. When we looked at on first when they were defending second and he was on the high ground overlooking the enemy spawn when Twisty was, you know, where he should have been in defending the high ground or wherever he was. And then we saw him just briefly for a moment standing all the way at the back there around the previous corner waiting for him to come around while the team was holding the gates at the front. Just a few small things like that. That if Josh cleans up his positioning a little bit, and also just some ult usages. It seemed like there were 2 team fights where he popped attack visor when the team was already running away. And at that point, you take the win. That's a team fight win. So small things like that can be the difference between holding that second point that we saw them just barely not be able to do and letting it go. But again, we see a difference of dynamics here. We're going to see Zarya for Alvin Slayer, and we're going to see Twisty again on the Rhine, which I like. It's going to allow the Rhine to get quite aggressive here with Slade's speed boost and the healing from Auntie. So that might be the key. But oh my god, look how low he is! He's already dead, Stovall.
Look, it seems like whatever they want to change, there's always an answer for. BTS fan immediately taking out the tank, but Zoom's still deadly on the Junkrat as both the tank and the healer go down. It's going to be a quick reset, but no, they're not letting them reset. Look at Zoom. He's bloodthirsty. He's hungry. Slade takes down Moira, and I just can't believe this. There we go. That's another massive reset for California Girls as frontline fighters jump onto the objective, and that's got to feel good after an absolutely clutch defense and now a very aggressive offense. Wait, Zoom, what are you doing? You're literally just hanging out here, 1v1ing a tank. This is aggressive. This is just bullying at this point. All right, so I'm proud of your accomplishments, but please, let's not be too mean, shall we?
Oh no, he's just doing whatever he wants here. I mean, let's not forget that Twisty, the man picking up the enemy tank here, who will go down eventually. No, he won't actually. They're just gonna get kill after kill. Zoom is dead though. The carry is down, so that's at least an advantage for the California Girls. But it's worth remembering that Twisty dropped first in that team fight, right? They lost their tank right off the bat, and they still managed to push through with the damage from Zoob and Josh and the healing from Auntie and Slade, and that's a little bit of a disaster for the California Girls. You think, we got the Reinhardt, we can just clean up the rest, but no. The frontline fighters coming back, and now looking to just pressure them back here, and Apricornicus, he's seeing what Zoom can do. He's going to try and match him.
Well, Josh is already out, and they're going to be 1 DPS down. We're looking for quite the aggressive pusher from California Girls, which again, they're known for. The healer is, one of the healers is down. Junkrat Tire is ready, and as I say it, out it goes. What are they going to find? It's BTS fan immediately eating a spike tire to the face. What is going to be the response here? We've got, again, another Junkrat ult, and it's around the back, and oh my goodness, a beautiful play. Twisty and Josh are down. That is a very good response from California Girls, stopping frontline fighters in their tracks. Kiriko desperately trying to heal. This is running away from him. Okay, bit of breathing room, little bit of space, and it looks like an ult almost ready for Elvin's Slayer. Let's see what they can do with that. That's going to be a very, very powerful thing to use. Goodness gracious, but Zoom is not giving you any breathing room to go down. He does get refragged, but Josh is ready to take out the opposing Junkrat as well. And this Reinhardt going in, and it's a hammer to the face for Elvin Slayer. Frontline fighters I think you're just soaking up the aggression that California Girls are known for. You've cleaned the slate, and you're pushing them again. California Girls, what are you going to bring to the table? You've got 2 ults ready, 2 ults on the side of Frontline Fighters. Josh, she's almost got hers, and out goes the Kitsune. And here's the ult! Here we go! And out comes, my goodness, immediately a kill onto Joshi. Here's the Dragon Blade. Can he make it count? Zoom takes out Apricornicus, but BTS Fan is taking out Slade, and it's immediately cleaned up on the side of BTS Fan as well. This is too chaotic. I need to breathe.
There's too much happening here, and the fights are kind of bleeding into each other, as tends to happen a lot in Overwatch 2, but Zoom just going to clean up Restio Sun. They will get that second cap. 4.5 minutes on the clock. That's more than you start with on this map, so they're looking in a pretty good spot here. The Frontline Fighters, and there it is, the yellow box of victory. That's where they have to get. They've got this Riptire if they choose to use it here, and they've got a couple of ultis here. Coalescent's going to come out, no, just ready to go, and they switch to the Sigma here. I worry about this. I worry that California's just going to get steamrolled.
Indeed, and out comes the Tac Visor, immediately committing multiple ults, but my goodness, California Girls stopping that dead in their tracks. Here comes the Tire. The Tire does do work in taking out one of the healers, but I don't think that was as optimal of an ult play as they were hoping for, Frontline Fighters. They had 3 ultimates. They've been burned now. Yes, they've got 3 minutes, 45 seconds to work with, but California Girls do have another 2 ults to work with. That's a Riptire and a Moira ult that's ready to rock and roll. So maybe just pull back, regroup, and get back onto the points. You've got 3 minutes, 30 seconds to work with, and I'm interested to see what Frontline Fighters are going to do to be able to reclaim this territory.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Riptire will be key here. Twisty, of course, can delete it with 1 fire strike, so let's see. They know where it is. I think they saw him go there, but he still gets it out. He gets Josh Z to start it off, so that's about as good as you can hope for sometimes with the Riptire. And it looks like, yeah, the Frontline Fighters just going to back up here. Good disciplined play from them. But I'm interested, Snowball, that, you know, we spoke about the Pharah as Swoom ends up going down on the X. We spoke about the Pharah, but it's the ground Pharah that's key in this series so far. The Junkrat, both Apricornicus and Swoom are getting so much value out of this hero, and it makes it so hard for the tanks to play. It makes it awkward for the Genji to play. And I think that's the one of the keys of that hero here is that Babs, he can't just move like he wants to. If he gets trapped, if he catches a 1 Junkrat bomb, he can be killed quite easily, but the Gravitic Flux will start things off here. Oh my
goodness
god.
gracious. And with the Kitsune, down go 5 players. It's a 5-player kill streak for BTS Fan as they absolutely clean up the Frontline Fighters on the front line, which is massive considering they've still got 2 ultimates ready to rock and roll. Yes, we've got Slade with dropping the beat, and that's a nice amount of health buff, but how are they going to make this happen? I know that they're playing it not quite as aggressively. They've got the time to work with, but 2 minutes drops away very, very quickly. There's 2 ultimates on California Girls. Down goes Apricornicus. Apricornicus, however, does manage to take down Josh post-mortem. BTS Fan with the Dragon Blade is on a 10-player kill streak as he takes down 3 of the Frontline Fighters. He's really putting in work with that katana. He's got to be feeling absolutely on fire right now. Frontline Fighters, I think we're running a bit low on time here. We've got just under 90 seconds. Here comes the very close range Tire to Kiriko. That's just rude. God. BTS Fan says none of that and makes sure Zoom pays the price. The Sigma is very ready to defend this point, and now it's just 90 seconds left. Frontline Fighters, maybe it's time to switch up your tactics a little bit. You had the advantage. Now I'm not so sure. It's just bites the dust yet again.
Yeah, unfortunate Josh shopping there. That sometimes happens when you're playing into a Junkrat. Sometimes you just cop one bomb and you go down. That's what I was saying about the Genji just a moment ago. You know, you catch a concussion mine or you catch a bomb, and all of a sudden you've got half HP and you don't feel so ready to go forward. Slade was weird there. He could have beat it and he chose not to. So I wonder if they can use it aggressively, and they will do so here with the Earth Shadow.
Okay, and we got the beat going out, and it didn't seem to do much for Josh, but they're very much capitalizing it. Zoom making sure to take out 4 members in total. Granted, one of them went to the Kiriko, but hey, who's counting? 4 members of California Girls today. That's BDS Fan is also down. This is the push that Frontline Fighters needed. They're on top of the point. They're pushing in, but it's not over yet. Yes, we've got 45 seconds. It's not as much to work with, but California Girls are going to be able to make it back. We've got 2 ultimates ready, and I was about to say that was one of them, but that Tire stopped dead in its tracks. It's popped, it's deflated. What are they gonna do? Here comes the Casino Rush and the Gravity Squeeze, but it doesn't matter. Frontline Fighters, 3 of them go down. Slade, it's costing him his life, but it's so close. Zoom, down goes Apricornicus, Twisty taking out Elven Slayer.
Ooh.
It's everything that Frontline fighters needed right at the end. A battle on the front lines right to the finish, and Frontline fighters step across the line, the victors. Well played, everybody.
Yeah, very, very nice play from the frontline fighters there. I mean, they left it as late as they could, right? They had 4.5 minutes and they finished it overtime. But who cares? You get the one in your side of the map, and all of a sudden a 2-0 lead. I think a 3-0 would be a disservice here to the quality of the match. I think both teams are quite evenly matched here. Especially on Eichenwalde, you know, right to the end, one kill goes in a different direction and the result is flipped. So I'm excited to see what we've got coming next. But I think, again, it's funny to me how the sort of micro metas emerge in these matches, in these tournaments. The Junkrat, a hero we did not see one, maybe we saw it twice last weekend, right, in the Kiriko Cup, and now it's like, you know, it's the flavor of this match. Swoom has been doing so much work on it. Apricornicus switches over and he's also able to do so much work on it. So that's a fascinating dynamic to see develop and unfold. And I wonder if, as we move now over to Colosseo, if that's still going to be the color of this match, or whether it will go back to something a little bit more normal.
Indeed, I mean, I have to say, I love the terminology that you used, the ground farer. And hey, call it what you want, it's doing work. I absolutely love to see this, personally, because I also absolutely suck garbage at playing Junkrat. So it's a pleasure and a privilege to see it happening now. But yes, we're moving on to Colosseo. And speaking of maps, do you find there's maybe any map preference? I'm not as familiar with the teams, so I'm just going to go outright and say it. Map preferences. Anything existing there from either Frontline Fighters or California Girls side?
It's possible that there is, but that isn't going to be something that's necessarily reflected in their play. You know, the players might have map preferences, map type preferences, those sort of things. But I think playstyle wise, with the compositions that these teams are both running, I think there's not too much to say. You know, before this map, I suggested that the Frontline Fighters might prefer a map where they can set up a defensive position and work from there. But watching this match, I think both teams are equally adept at that, and they're actually very evenly matched on all match types. So really, it comes down at that point to player preference. What does each individual player prefer? And when you're playing the Junkrat, you know, it seems like both teams can succeed with that hero. That said, Elven Slayer oscillates between playing the ball and playing the Zarya at the moment. So maps where he can find value on the ball seems to be working a little bit better for them so far this series. And Colosseo seems like a map like that. I suspect he'll start on the Zarya or the Sigma here, but I'm interested to see his adaptation specifically, because I think the main tank role is key to dictating the playstyle that a team has. And we can see Twisty on that Reinhardt, he's allowed to play with so much more aggression or play with passivity should he choose to do that. He's got options on the Reinhardt, and he knows he's got damage coming out from behind the shield or in the enemy backline, as it may occur with how Zoom is playing. But Zoom's going to start off on the Sojourn here, potentially, a hero we haven't seen so far today, but kind of fulfills the same kind of role that Josh fulfills on the Soldier. So we might see a bit of a tempo shift here, where the frontline fighters want to slow things down. The California Girls might want to look to get a little bit aggressive, but no, they're also got a fairly slow lineup with the Hanzo, and with Apricornicus on the Symmetra, will probably switch on to the Tracer, the Sombra. I quite like the Sombra here as well.
Well, speaking of switch ups, he did it the previous map. He's done it again now. He was on Sojourn and then immediately swapped just before to the Junkrat. But hey, BTS fan, no more Genji, swapping it out for his brother Hanzo, which is quite interesting. And maybe again, just due to the flavor of the map and how things are going.
There we go.
Goodness gracious, the flavor certainly is a headshot from BTS fan, and I'm very interested to see now with this change up how this is going to go. Sigma's still here, Sombra in the mix to make sure that everybody's on their toes, and we've got an early push here from Frontline Fighters, and I wonder how California Girls are going to respond to it.
Yeah, worth remembering here on push maps, these first couple of fights can, dictate the flavor of the whole match in quite a big way. If you get a big lead and push, getting that lead back is so difficult, as we saw so often last weekend. BTS fan, though, he's finding Zoom every single time. I wonder if he's going to force a switch out from Zoom. He might want to be able to do something a little bit to deal with this Hanzo, because the strength of this Hanzo snowball is that he can sit back and really pressure out the Reinhardt. And we can see Twisty, he's always dropping early in these fights, either first or second, and this is what Bab's able to do. He doesn't have to put himself in risk like he does on the Genji. He can just sit back, throw the tree trunks in and get picks.
And maybe this is going to be the change that they needed. So as California Girls now jumping back into their confidence and their aggression and grabbing that initial capture. My goodness,
okay.
Twisty doesn't care though. He doesn't care about your aggression because he's aggressive himself and takes 2 of them down. And in comes both the Kiriko and the Lucio to just clean up everybody else. Elven Slayer taking Josh out on his way out, which I think is just a nice little souvenir to take home. The robot here reset and moving past the halfway point, off we go, pushing the barrier back. 38 meters, a nice little start for California Girls, but Frontline Fighters, let's see how far you can push this front line.
Yeah, but in terms of the meta of this map right now, it's clear advantage for the California Girls. Because if they win this team fight, they're still in the lead, right? The team fight has to go towards the Frontline Fighters. They're going to start things off here with the Dragon Strike, won't find anything, and they're going to get aggressive now on the side of the Frontline Fighters.
And Twisty still has his hammer down pound. I'm interested to see if he's going to be able to push up. And he does! My goodness, he doesn't even need to use it because the hammer is pounding away. It doesn't matter. We don't need an ult here when you've got Zoom on your team. And both Twisty and Zoom both have their ults ready to go, but they're going to have to wait as we go for a quick little PP pause.
Yeah, that was Twisty there. He didn't use his shield once in that whole team fight. You know, they got aggressive. You know, that's the key. I would love to be in the comms of this team. Twisty is a new player compared to Zlade as an old player. You know, the dynamic between Reinhardt and Lucio can be quite critical into the success of the Reinhardt. You know, Zlade might be in charge of Reinhardt's movements as much as Twisty is. Because if Zlade's saying, I've got boost, let's get aggressive, then Twisty can move forward and drop his shield and swing away to his heart's content. But that's the thing about the Hanzo, right? If the Hanzo's in position and putting damage in, you can't just drop his shield like that and start to swing away and try and do damage. And that's what Babs needs to try and get done, but it's awkward when they start popping ultis. You know, the attack visor zones Bab away. They use the Kiriko rush as well. It really puts the pressure on the California Girls, and that allows the pressure to be taken off Twisty, and he can just drop shield and start playing baseball in the front lines there, swinging his hammer away there. When everything's a nail. When all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Absolutely.
And, that was a team full of nails on the California Girls.
And you've absolutely hit the nail on the head, because at that point, with that aggression and with the trust that Twisty can have with his team, he can just drop his shield and just go nuts. And out goes the hammer, and a hammer down is not needed when you are pulling in those kind of frags. So we already have here, as we can see on the ult economy, Zoom and Twisty are sitting on their ults, so a hammer down ready to rock and roll. We've got 2 players down in California Girls, and Kiriko ready with her ult, and the Sigma ready with theirs.
I just have to say here, Snowball, that Apricornicus was 84% to his ulti when he DC'd. And of course, when you come back, because this game was made in the 70s apparently, when you come back, you lose all your ult charge. So that is a huge, huge loss. No EMP, big...
Holy cow! Well, speaking of a loss...
Through the lamp as well, oh my god.
Speaking of a loss, that's 3 players lost, 4 players lost for California Girls. Frontline Fighters capitalizing on this momentum, and Twisty is just pushing up. Out goes... actually, wait a second. No, I thought he was gonna push a lot further. Never mind. I'll eat my words. It's fine. Twisty and Zlade are also holding on to their ultimates. I think this is gonna back up. Twisty, you aggressive son of a gun. You know you're playing a tank. Please, please. BTS, oh, look at you. Back onto the Genji. Maybe this is a comfort pick. Maybe this is now looking for more of the up close and personal fighting. Out goes the Kitsune rush. I'm not sure what they're going to be able to capitalize on just here. Maybe it's just,
there we go.
I was about to say, I was like, who needs an ult to be able to capitalize on this when California Girls pick up 4 immediately, and that is exactly what they needed. And the capture changes hands, and back you go, little robot.
Yeah, that you're right. That is exactly what they needed. One ultimate, the Kiriko rush, used to win the team fight. They used that extra attack speed and damage and movement speed and whatever you get from the Kiriko rush, the Kitsune rush, sorry, to get all the picks they needed to. And now they're coming up into a couple of key ultimates, slowly working back towards that EMP, working towards the Dragon Blade as Babs gets bullied here by Zlade, who is the most aggressive Lucio you'll ever see in your life. But this is a good pick, a great pick. Zoom, taken out first here.
And very good to see indeed, because Woom is no doubt going to be causing trouble as soon as he gets back. So capitalizing on that as much as possible. California Girls. And there goes the massive hammer down. And Josh and Twisty cleaning up. Another Kitsune rush. They're capitalizing on it. Twisty takes out Elven Slayer's Lade, takes out Damien. That is beautiful. Yes, Kiriko is going to fall for their trouble. Apriconic is making sure to take one souvenir home. And the capture has changed hands once again. Can the robot make it back to the barrier? I'm not sure. But what I'm sure of is California Girls sitting on not one, not two, but three ultimates. What do we make of that, Phoenix?
I think the ultimate usage is going to have to be key here, but that is a problem. That's one ultimate out of the team fight, but they're fighting back here. 3 kills in quick succession here. Will they get a 4th here in the form of Twisty? You got to think it's only a matter of time, and they will get him. Elven Slayer picks up a couple there. Yes, they did use the EMP there, and that's what you want to do really in push. Use one ult to win the defensive fight, and you use the next ult to win your aggressive fights. But he literally saw that and walked into it. That's the kind of problem with push here from a team who's behind standpoint. You need to win multiple fights in a row here, so that's job 1 done. But now they've got a big ulti fight to follow it up, and it's going to be started off by the Riptile. Oh no!
the Junkrat ult just climbing after the poor Shimada, and following very quick suit as Josh's ultimate taking down Damien. Twisty making sure to clean up as well. But look at that! California Girls refragging to go down. And there comes the gravity squeeze. Up you go, down you come. Zoom, now a pancake on the pavement. Junkrat will have to be scraping you off at some point. I hope somebody brought a spatula. But here we go. The capture does change hands. It's contested, but we're ready to rock and roll as Twisty goes down again. BTS fan wasting no time in taking down the tank. And this Lucio barely holding onto his life. BTS fan making sure that any stragglers are picked up. And off we go. California Girls pushing back.
He's so pissed, Snowball. If I was him, I'd be so angry all the time. I mean, I'm not him, but I am angry anyways. But he pops his blade and gets absolutely minced by the Riptile straight away. That must feel so awful. But look, already up to 45%. He kind of recouped some of those losses from the previous fight, but they're going to get aggressive here. Beat to start things off for the Frontline fighters.
And out comes the Kitsune rush, and we'll see if this can be capitalized on. Oh my goodness, here come the kills. But it's 3 down for California Girls immediately. The Somber desperately trying to hold on to her life. And it seems like Zlade is going to be able to take one as well. It's absolute chaos. Swoom does go down, but takes Kiriko as well. And Elven Slayer goes down to Josh. A revenge kill, no less. And the robot once again making its way back to the other side of the map. It's 3 minutes, just under 3 minutes left to play with, and I'm interested to see what they're going to bring to the table now. All teams reset. What are we going to do?
Oh my god, he had 2 bullets in his gun! What is he doing? He goes for the kill, fires 3 shots, and he has to reload. And now they can move forward here. But
and out comes the next Kitsune rush. And again, no ults needed. They're capitalizing on it as much as possible. Twisty pushing up, just swatting flies left and right. Zoom takes down one, but Twisty pays for his aggression. However, Zoom is ready to fill that hole as he takes down 3-2, falling to the ultimate. It's a team kill, and that is exactly what we needed with 2 minutes left to play with. And the robot pushing very steadily now in favor of Frontline fighters.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder for the California Girls here. Babs out of position here. Good Suzu just to prevent Babs from getting any value out of this meat grinder that he's currently in. He goes down. The travel to Sombra, it gets worse and worse, Snowball. Everything going wrong.
Oh my goodness. Zooming everybody to an early grave. Josh takes out another one. Slade. I feel like it's going wrong for California Girls. We've got 3 ultimates ready and another one on the way. California Girls, can you push up to the front line? And Babs immediately down. Here comes the gravity squeeze. Can we make it work? Kiriko taking out the other Kiriko. Twisty making sure Sombra pays the price. Zlade is down, but is it too little too late? Twisty is there to defend his team. Out comes the Dragon Blade. What are you going to do with a person like Zoom? Zoom does fall to BTS. That's great. Elven Slayer, BTS fan, and Apricorn taking kills of their own. And absolute inches from the finish line is not the front line. My goodness. They've turned it around. Frontline fighters, you've got attack visor to work with. You've got a hammer down on the way. Think about your options and think about them carefully.
Well, the Frontline fighters are sitting pretty here, right? They just have to win one team fight in the next, 2, maybe even 3 minutes with how far the California Girls have to push back. BTS fan getting aggressive once again. Almost goes down, but will stay alive. But the Frontline fighters don't need to win this team fight. They just need to win one team fight, and they'll be good. So they can afford to hold their ultimates here and then take one last desperate team fight to hold the point back from coming forward. But 2 players going down, one on either team.
which does mean it's still a 4v4. It's an even fight, but is anything but even when the tide of battle can change so quickly. We've got a Kitsune rush ready. This is 4 ultimates ready for Frontline Fighters. Like you said, they only need to win one. What are they going to be using first? Oh, 5 ultimates already. I think they know the power position that they're holding into.
Twisty drops though.
Twisty does drop, and BTS fan making sure that it's the blood on his hands. What are they going to do? This is very, very down to the wire. 5 seconds ready to rock and roll. California girls, you better hold on to this. But hey, Frontline Fighters, I know you know the power you hold in your hands. These ultimates are ready to rock and roll. Bring them to the front line, Paps. I'm not even going to comment at this point.
He runs around the corner and immediately has to deflect, but he gets his revenge there. Finds room to start things off. The attack bounce though from Joshi. Finds one. Gonna look to find the Genji here. Will find him with a couple of well-placed headshots. And now they just need a clean up here. The janitor has arrived though. Twisty sweeping that hammer across the ground. Will pick up a couple. Slade going down. And that, I think, is it, Snowball.
That is very much it. That is all she wrote. And holy cow. Again, down to the wire fighting on the front line. It's like they knew that they had the power play. It's like they knew what cards they had up their sleeve. And Zwoom reveling in this explosive victory. Let's have a look at this play of the game. As if it's going to be anybody else. You absolute mad lad. Out goes the Riptire, chasing after the poor the poor Kiriko. 2 of them go down. And Zwoom, you impress us every single match. Well done, Frontline Fighters. My goodness, another hard-fought victory. Well played, everybody.
Absolutely. You know, you said Zwoom impresses you every match. You haven't even seen him. This is a shadow of the real Zwoom, right? Because Zwoom is a tank player, the best main tank in the country by many people's estimations. But he's showing up on the DPS here, on the Junkrat specifically. And I think that really ended up being the key here. Here we haven't seen unlocking this, what has up to now been an uncrackable, or what is it, undeniable California Girls squad. So I'm impressed. I think they've painted themselves here, the Frontline Fighters, as the team to beat, both literally and figuratively, because they move on to the grand finals now, I believe.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. And Frontline Fighters, I love a good story to go with a whole bunch of good Overwatch, and what it would seem like is beginning maybe a bit of shaky footing, but as soon as they made first contact with the enemy, as soon as they'd felt out their competition, California Girls were already, dare I say, on the back foot. Frontline Fighters pushing the front line, and any ground that they were pushed back, they took back tenfold. Absolutely brilliant to see from both teams. I'm very, very impressed. Yes, at the end of the day, there's a winner and there's a loser, but that doesn't mean that all across the board, it was damn good Overwatch. I'm very impressed, especially from a tank main showing up on a Junkrat and absolutely cleaning house. Twisty as well, just want to chuck out the mention, do know the lad in person, and very, very much a pleasure to see him fragging out here with a hammer hitting the nails on the head, as if I do steal your analogy there. Well played for everybody. Yes, Frontline Fighters, you move forward, but that's not the end of the Overwatch action. There's still plenty more to come in the coming days, and I'm just happy to have witnessed what we've seen here and now this evening.
Yeah, of course, worth noting as well, California Girls are not dead and out. There is a lower bracket, so they will drop down to the lower bracket where they will face the winner of Team Tree versus the Burnt Toasties, I believe. So they have every opportunity to come back here in the grand final tomorrow and enact their revenge. And if they do end up doing with that, and we have to expect that it's a very likely possibility, then that is really going to be exciting. You know, how do you adapt? You've actually played a best of 5 against a team. You were beaten fairly narrowly. How do you respond? You know, you saw Babs there, Hanzo, Genji, a little bit of Pharah. He's really struggling to find the hero that works for him. He wants to be on that Genji. When Genji's strong, Babs is strong. When Babs is strong, the California Girls are stronger. So if they can find a way to shut down Zwoom on the Junkrat, they'll really be able to crack open the Frontline Fighters. But until then, the Frontline Fighters are sitting pretty at the top of the tournament so far, and they'll be going to the grand finals with you know, that's going to be a tough team to beat.
Absolutely, and again, maybe a bit of an upset considering California Girls were more of the favorites. But again, like you said, not down and out just yet. Down but not out. That lower bracket, I'm ready to see them fight through and potentially meet Frontline fighters again in the grand finals. Now that, I can tell you, would make for a good story.
Yes.
I'm honestly not sure what to expect other than more damn good Overwatch. And yes, Frontline fighters, you put out phenomenal gameplay today. An absolutely just steamrolling effort, and I'm very, very happy to say that it's not over just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Plenty of games for them tomorrow, plenty of games for us tomorrow. Snowball, as we will be taking you guys through Team Tree versus the Bird Toasties tomorrow at bright and early for us gamers at 12 p.m. I don't know what kind of gamer you are, Smaller.
Say it ain't so.
Yeah, well, that's we're gonna have to set our alarms very early and hope we're up in time. But I'm super excited for that. I think it should be a stellar matchup as this one was.
Absolutely. And look, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to be here tonight with you, Phoenix, with Frontline Fighters and California Girls, with everybody in chat. Thank you for coming out and making it. This is what we love. This is what we enjoy. Yes, this is a competitive scene, and we love to back our favorite teams and our favorite players and hopefully come out the victor. But at the end of the day, we're all engaging over a mutual love of a damn fun game and some good old competitive Overwatch. And yes, there's more to come. I personally will see you again with Phoenix at 12 tomorrow. Set your alarms. It's going to be more of this absolute insanity, I'm sure. And yes, newer teams, but the same good Overwatch. Thank you for being here, everybody. I do appreciate it. And we'll see you then.
My name.